John D. Rockefeller, who was an oil tycoon back in the early 1900s, created a bad name for himself, monopolizing the markets, and it was said that he had to split up that oil industry in many different ways. And during the process of reestablishing a name for himself, he began to work with a gentleman by the name of Frederick T. Gates, no relation to Bill Gates, or so it said. As they began to talk about philanthropic efforts and their ability to reshape history as it was, they came up with an idea to invest $180 million into the education field. So Rockefeller established the General Board of Education. And what they set out to do was reshape history as we know it in a very sinister way. Rockefeller even went on to say, "I need not a nation of thinkers, but a nation of workers." And this video I'm about to show you is actually somebody who worked directly and closely with them to break down what was really behind this whole operation, or so to speak. Watch this.
Although Rockefeller's resources weren't exactly limitless, they might as well have been. In 1902, he established the General Education Board to help implement Gates's vision for the country school of tomorrow with a staggering $180 million endowment. The Rockefeller influence on education was felt almost immediately, and it was amplified by help from fellow monopolists of the era who were approaching the topic of philanthropy from the same angle. Although best known as a steel magnate, Andrew Carnegie's fortune started on the railroads transporting Rockefeller's Standard Oil around the country, and was greatly magnified by a lucrative investment in property near Oil Creek that provided steady, profitable oil sales. In 1905, he established the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, a tax-free foundation through which Carnegie and his appointees could direct the development of the education system in the United States and, eventually, worldwide. In 1910, Rockefeller followed suit by establishing the Rockefeller Foundation, which became the tax-free umbrella organization for his philanthropic ambitions. As the Reese Committee, a congressional investigation into the activities of these tax-free foundations in the 1950s, discovered, it wasn't long before Carnegie's endowment approached Rockefeller's foundation with a proposal to cooperate on their shared desire to transform the American education system in their own image. Norman Dodd, the director of research for the congressional committee who was granted access to the Carnegie Endowment's board minutes, explains.
So they approach the Rockefeller Foundation with the suggestion that that portion of education which could be considered domestic be handled by the Rockefeller Foundation, and that portion which is international should be handled by the endowment. And they then decide that the key to the success of these two operations lay in an alteration of the teaching of American history. So they approach four of the then most prominent teachers of American history in the country, people like Charles and Mary Bird, and their suggestion to them is, will they alter the manner in which they present this subject, and they get turned down flat. So they then decide that it is necessary for them to do, as they say, build our own stable of historians. And then they approach the Guggenheim Foundation, which specializes in fellowships, and say, when we find young men in the process of studying for doctorates in the field of American history, and we feel that they are the right caliber, will you grant them fellowships on our say-so? And the answer is yes. So under that condition, eventually they assemble 20. And they take this 20 potential teachers of American history to London, and there they're briefed into what is expected of them when, as and if they secure appointments in keeping with the doctorates they will have earned. And that group of 20 historians ultimately becomes the nucleus of the American Historical Association. And then toward the end of the 1920s, the endowment grants to the American Historical Association $400,000 for a study of our history in a manner which points to what can this country be, can it look forward to in the future. And that culminates in a 7-volume study, the last volume of which is, of course, in essence a summary of the contents of the other 6. And the essence of the last volume is the future of this country belongs to collectivism administered with characteristic American efficiency.
Unbelievable, right? We've never heard about this before. And there's actually a 26-page book that you can pick up for yourself. I'll drop it down in the description. It's in PDF format that you can pick up. It's called The Country School of Tomorrow. And this is a collaborative book, 26 pages by Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, talking about what they envision. I'm going to read you a little excerpt of what they said. He says, "In our dream, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hand. The present educational conventions fade from our minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or of science. We are not to raise up from among them authors, orators, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor will we cherish even the humbler ambition to raise up from among them lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we now have ample supply, shaping our future, changing our history. So what is real and true? And what's a lie? Well, I'll leave that for you to decide. Thanks for watching this content. And if it's of value to you, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell to turn on notifications so you know when we drop new content. If you like what we do, consider dropping a donation to sponsor us as alternative media to continue furthering truth, freedom of speech, and maintaining our rights. The donation link is down below in the description and also in the comments section, or you can simply go to joeyvantes.com. I'm also working on a documentary right now called The Devil in Disguise, breaking down the power structures of our world and highlighting some of the specifics behind the entertainment industry in Hollywood and on the music side as well. We want to bring truth and light so people know what's actually being pitched to them, their families, their kids, how we're being programmed and shaped every single day through these entities and through these mediums. We have a goal to raise $50,000, which is a shoestring budget, but we've done our research and homework and know that with this, we can accomplish everything that we've set out to do. We need your help and we can't do it alone. The link is in the description to donate and sponsor what we're doing, and there's more information about it there as well. Thank you so much, and until next time, continue to fight those psyops.